afternoon. We are live. You have joined us here on the Blue Plate Special. I'm Andy Andrews. We're at Wisdom Harbor Studios in beautiful downtown Orange Beach, Alabama. You have joined us live. And we're here at an Orange Beach landmark, the Wharf. This is the downtown shopping district here, home of the famous escalator statues. So when you visit us, you need to come see us here in Wisdom Harbor Studios and look around at the museum pieces that we have and also get your picture taken with the escalator statue. Listen, click that notification. If you're on Facebook, we'd ask you to click that notification and turn the notifications on your phone. That way, when we go live at any time, you will be notified. I'd like to say hi to the YouTube people joining us and click that subscription button. If you're on Facebook, please share, okay? Just go ahead and share. We got a great show for you today. The topic of the show today is bad predictions. I want to welcome the Twitter people and the LinkedIn people with their ties. I don't know why. I always think of LinkedIn as business. And so I always imagine you guys with ties and in business attire while I'm sitting here in a T-shirt from $100 Lifestyles. So this is my fish hippie T-shirt from $100 Lifestyles is the cornerstone of the Wharf. And you definitely need to visit there. Just check your compass when you walk in the doors. It's a massive store, and you don't want to get lost. But they have everything, including multi-millions of T-shirts. So they furnish the attire. You remember when Matt? Do you remember Let's Make a Deal?
That sounds familiar, but I'm gonna just say no.
Are you kidding me? I mean, how old are you?
I'm 30.
You're 30 and you don't remember Let's Make a Deal? Monty? You don't?
I don't.
Okay. Well, a guy named Monty Hall would come down into a studio audience and he would say, I'll give you $100 if you have a boiled egg. And, of course, nobody would have a boiled egg. But then he'll say, I'll give you $50 if you show me your husband's driver's license. It was all this crazy stuff. And then, he'd pick somebody that was dressed up like a chicken and he would say, we have Carol Merrill down here on door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, and you get to choose. Do you want door number 1, door number 2, door 2? And they would choose. And so they would get something like, it would be a washing machine sitting in the middle of the stage. And then he'd say, let's see what we have if you had chosen door number 2. And it would have been like a stray dog or something. And then if you had chosen door number 3, and it would have been a trip to Hawaii for the rest of your life. You were just a bozo and you chose the washing machine. How did I get off on that?
Oh my gosh, I don't.
Where did Let's Make a Deal come from? I think I was thinking about Monty Hall. Now, see, this is where the ADD really clicks in. Because I was coming down the hall down there, and I thought about something I left in the hall, and then I was thinking Monty Hall, and I was thinking, then Let's Make a Deal started, and that's just my brain. Okay, I'm sorry. Marcy Cross-Taylor, good morning. 42 degrees and foggy there in Pasco, Washington. Wow. Hey, we have a bunch of people in the studio. We have Talisa and Kelly from Odin, Indiana. Where are you? Hey, Indiana. Let's see how many states we got. We got Doug from Washington, Indiana. Awesome. You wonder how many Washingtons there are in states. You have a D.C., a state, you have Washington, Indiana. I know there's a Washington County, Alabama. Monty Hall's favorite president was probably George Washington. I don't know. Connie from Elkmond, Alabama. Where is Elkmond? I can't hear you. I don't know why I asked that. I just I would read lips. Lauren from Gulf Shores. So glad you're here. Jeannie and John from Meridian, Mississippi. Oh, I'm glad my wife is not here. We wouldn't get any words in edgewise now. She's from DeKalb, okay, which is just north of Meridian. Yeah. She lives in, she doesn't live there now. She lives in DeKalb. I live in Orange Beach, but she's from DeKalb. And this is the land time forgot, isn't it? I mean, it is amazing. I mean, there's a sign that welcomes. It says, "Welcome to DeKalb, Mississippi. Set your watch back 50 years." I mean, there's in the entire county, in Kemper County, the entire county, there's not a single stoplight. Would you have thought there's a place like that in America anymore? I mean, when you cross into the city limits, you can hear that whistling theme from the Andy Griffith Show. Seriously. And her dad was a cowboy. At least that's how he dressed. He had, wore a cowboy hat and wore a vest and jeans and boots and had one of those ties that, thing like that. And he had cap pistols. No, not really cap pistols, but he had all the other stuff. Nancy from Minnesota. Hey, Nancy, how are you? I guess here today, 60 degrees. That seems like a heat wave to you, doesn't it? I don't know how cold it is in Minnesota now, but that's. I always put my perspective out there, and I have on my phone. I have Dead Horse, Alaska. My buddy Dan Stone lives in Duluth. He's like the craziest preacher I've ever known in my life because he actually lived at the beach and moved to Duluth. And so let's see. In Duluth, right now, it's 29 degrees. In Orange Beach, here it's 61. And in Dead Horse, Alaska, it's minus 30. So you just, when you think 20 degrees is cold, just check out Dead Horse. Amy and Bug from, hey guys, how are y'all doing? Good to see you guys from Tennessee. And Sarah from Minnesota. Mother Sarah, hey, how are you doing? Minnesota. Man, we got them all over the country here. Linda and Ken today from Wisconsin. Is deer season over in Wisconsin? It is? Okay. I flew into Madison one time at about 8 in the morning on the opening day of deer season. And at about 10,000 feet, I looked out the window and there was like orange in all the trees. I mean, it was like the largest, it's like the second largest army in the United States at that point, right? It was amazing. It was amazing. I was texting with Michael. I can't believe I can't think of his last name. I'm still thinking about Monty Hall. But I was texting with my author friend Michael this morning, who's up in New Albern, Wisconsin. So I got a lot of Wisconsin friends. Dorothy from Minnesota. We got a lot of Minnesotans here. Okay. We'll just turn the heat up for you guys. Judith DeWitt, good morning. Glad you guys are here. Christy, my sister, hello, and thank you for sharing, Christy. Becky Ottenberry, West Monroe, Louisiana. West Monroe, is that the Duck Dynasty area? I think it is. Les Dawson, hello there. Are you guys ready to get going with the show? We're kind of been going with the show, but those of you who are taking notes, I know you don't have anything down yet. But the title of the show today is bad predictions. You know, in the new year, you have this period of time that all the newspapers and the news shows are all saying what's going to happen next year and they're making predictions about 2022, and I think they're probably fun to read, but I think that you can go back and see how many bad predictions there were. I don't know how seriously we should take them. You know, Elon Musk said that within 100 years, they're going to be shuttling tens of thousands of people back and forth from Earth to Mars.
Wow.
Now, he's a smart guy, and he's a rich guy. But I'm not sure about that one. I mean, I'm looking at myself here in 2022, and I'm saying, where's my flying car? I mean, how long? I mean, do you remember that? I mean, for people that said, oh, they'll have flying cars in the year 2000, where's my flying car? Okay, so here are some particularly bad predictions that I just went and researched these, gathered them up. We're going to start, we'll do them chronologically. We'll start with 1800. In 1800, Dr. Dionysius Larder, who is professor of astronomy at the University of London, they had just started with rail travel, and it was pretty slow. And the question was getting to be, how fast can we go? And the good doctor stated that rail travel at high speed will never be possible because the passengers would be unable to breathe and will die of asphyxia. Yeah, can't breathe at those high rail speeds of 25 miles an hour. You can't breathe. You wouldn't be able to catch up to the air. In 1903, now this is curious because this was a banker that was trying to talk one of Henry Ford's friends out of investing in his car, in this new company, right? And so it was actually Henry Ford's attorney and the head of Michigan State Bank. And he said, look, the horse is here to stay, but the automobile is only a novelty. It's a fad. But Horace Reckham, the attorney, ignored the advice. He invested $5,000 and pretty quickly turned it into $12.5 million. And that was back when $12.5 million was a lot of money. Yeah. Okay, in 1911, I love this one. Thomas Edison, he predicted that alchemy would soon be perfect. Now, do you know what alchemy is? Alchemy is the study of taking odd things and turn it into precious metals. Like medieval kings had alchemists on their staffs trying to turn stuff into precious metals. And so this is Thomas Edison predicting that alchemy will soon be perfected. And his quote is, "It will be an easy matter to convert a truckload of iron bars into virgin gold." Thomas Edison. I think that just proves this great American inventor had at least one light bulb that didn't burn so brightly. Yeah. In 1911, the New York Times was reviewing the first art exhibit of an artist named Picasso. It was Picasso's... Is Picasso his first name or last name?
Last, Pablo.
Pablo. Ah, I knew that.
I'm sure you did.
I knew that. He had a brother, Dwayne Picasso, who couldn't paint worth crap. You know, I mean, even in kindergarten, finger painting. I mean, they would look at it and go, "Yeah, that's Dwayne's." Yeah. Okay, so Picasso's first art exhibit, New York Times is reviewing it, and these are the words that they printed. It is to be regretted that this unquestionably talented artist should now make his debut with this series of childish, not to say imbecilic scribbles that are of no interest either as independent works of art or as steps toward achieving a complete work of art. They have neither material beauty nor spiritual significance nor merit of any other sort. Well, there you go. And that just destroyed Picasso, and he took that criticism to heart, and he never painted another thing. New York Times. 1912, Marconi, the guy who invented the wireless, the telegraph. Marconi declared that his wireless telegraph would soon end war as a means of settling disputes because it enabled more open communication between nations. And his quote is, "The coming of the wireless era will make war impossible because it will make war ridiculous." I think we've seen some ridiculous wars and not even sure they were using the wireless. Not sure that did a lot of good. Okay, in 1920, here we go, the New York Times again. That bastion of propriety, that teller of truth, the New York Times. They're always right. Here they are editorializing about the possibility of space travel. And what they said was, a rocket will never be able to leave Earth's atmosphere. Thank you to the New York Times. Yes. I can tell you a story about the New York Times, too. I can tell you one.
All right.
1927. I think this is a good one. 1927, H.L. Warner, who was the founder of Warner Brothers, he had been producing silent films for years. And when he was asked about the newest innovation, he said, "No, we won't be doing movies with dialogue. Who the hell wants to hear actors talk?" Yeah, who wants to hear actors talk? Yeah, there's some of them I wish were in silent movies now, I'll tell you that. 1939, New York Times is still at it. On their determination, this is the New York Times, on their determination about the future of television. And here's what they printed. The problem with television is that the people must sit and keep their eyes glued on a screen. The average American family hasn't time for it. Therefore, for this reason, if no other, television will never be a serious competitor to radio broadcasting. And they thought that TV would never be a serious competitor because the American people don't have time for it? Well, they sure made time for it. I mean, it's like, what's the average? The average person spends watching TV is something like 28 hours a day or something. You know, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
In 1949, here we go, my flying car. In 1949, Popular Mechanics magazine, no, this is not the flying car. Popular Mechanics magazine was reviewing a 30-ton computer, and they predicted miniaturization. So they were right, because they said computers in the future will have only 1,000 vacuum tubes and perhaps weigh as little as 1.5 tons.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's miniature. Oh my gosh. All right. This is one of my favorites. In 1955, Alex Lute, president of the Lute Vacuum Company. Has anybody heard of that? Nobody? I hadn't heard of it either. You're fixing to see why. Alan Lute, president of the Lute Vacuum Company, predicted the invention of a device that few people would actually want to have in their laundry room. He said, nuclear-powered vacuum cleaners will probably be a reality in 10 years. The old nuclear vacuum cleaners. What are you going to do in the living room, Mama? I'm going to nuke it. Okay. So we have 1960. Here's my flying car. We even have a picture for you on this. In 1966, Reader's Digest looked ahead to 1999. And they saw rocket packs on our belts and flying cars and climate-controlled cities under glass domes. And here is the picture that they published.
Oh, whoops! I didn't see a picture in that.
Did you not get the picture I sent?
Let me look again.
I sent a picture. Huh. We'll just wait here for Matt to find it.
Oh, let's see.
You see it? Do you really see it?
I do. Let me load this in.
I mean, it looks real. But it's amazing to me that they predicted this for 1999. Flying cars. What year was the Jetsons? I think George Jetson is the one who, probably got that started. Everybody's watching George Jetson. You know, George Jetson, the Jetsons was nothing but, I'm riffing here while you're finding it. George Jetson was actually the answer to the Flintstones. It was just the opposite. The Flintstones living in the Stone Age. And my wife and I get a kick. You found it? Okay, here's the Jetsons according to Reader's Digest. That's 1999 according to Reader's Digest.
Looks like Epcot.
It does look like Epcot, doesn't it? It does look like Epcot, which is, if you've never been to Epcot, I mean, some marketing person hatched that scheme. Epcot. I mean, at least Disney World has some rides. Epcot is like. I mean, this was the greatest marketing idea I've ever heard in my life. Epcot. It's like, okay, we'll have a big lake, and then we'll charge countries to have their country represented at Epcot. And in China land, we'll have a Chinese souvenir shop and a Chinese restaurant. And in Mexico land, we'll have Mexican souvenirs. We'll sell jumping beans and sombreros and ponchos, and we'll have a Mexican restaurant. In Italy land, we'll have an Italian, the whole place. It's all the way around the lake. It's just one country after another with a restaurant that you can buy their food and a souvenir place that you can buy their souvenirs. And hey, didn't we pay $115 to get in here and $28 to park? Can you tell there's a little anger there? Yeah, there's a little bit. I had somebody tell me not too long ago that Walt Disney was frozen, that he was cryogenically frozen. And I know that's been a rumor for years, but I'll guarantee you that it's not true. I will guarantee you that it's not true. Because if it was true, that company would have figured out a way to put him on display and charge you to see him. You know, he'd be on display. It's not true. Don Noble says, the internet says that the Jetsons takes place in 2062. Okay, so we got a little bit of time to wait for the flying cars. Here's George Jetson, chain his wife. Okay, 1977. Ken Olsen, founder of the Digital Equipment Corporation, appears to have missed an opportunity when he declared, "There is no reason anyone would want a computer in their home." Though, to be fair, the computers he was using then were bigger than most people's homes. So, I guess. But you think of somebody with some computer person is supposed to have an imagination, you know, and I love this one. 1997, Wired Magazine, I think this is our last one, Wired Magazine challenges Apple to face the facts in an article they wrote about Apple. And they called them out. And they said, admit it, you're out of the hardware game. You simply can't compete with other gadget makers. Yeah. Thank you, Wired Magazine. So, I wonder what kind of bad predictions we have today going forward. You know, Betty Rayford says if it was true, I'd like to see him brought back to restore some responsibility to the company he started. Yeah. It is amazing how off track, because Disney started out like for kids, and their movies aren't for kids anymore. Charlie Brown says the greatest successes come from believers, not the established. That's very true. That's very true. I don't know if you've seen yesterday's new content from Wisdom Harbor. And Wisdom Harbor is wisdom, HARBOUR.com. And one of the captains, we unloaded some content from Mike Rayburn, who is a virtuoso guitarist. And he is unbelievable, and he teaches innovation to companies with the guitar. And so we released it's like an 8-minute piece called What If, where he will blow your mind. So,
you know, there's a little teaser for it that got published, I think, just before the Blue Plate. You can go watch on Facebook. I saw like a 90-second thing.
All right, yeah. So if you're on Facebook, just back it up and look at the teaser there if you're not already subscribed, and you should subscribe. This is like $2.99 a month, and so it has tons. We have tons of content, tons of captains that are delivering content, all the way from Gen Z captains to Baby Boomer Plus. I think Bill and Gloria Gaither qualify as Baby Boomer Plus, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Bill's 87. Maybe he's a lot sharper than I am, which I know you're going, yeah, that's not hard to do. But Shelley Hess says, oh, yes, excellent message from Mike about What If. It just blew me away. I just loved it. And so the new content is available there for you 24/7, but we're highlighting new content on Wednesdays and Saturdays when you get your piece of wisdom. And Marcy Taylor says it was really good. And remember, we're going to be transitioning these Blue Plate specials all to wisdomharbor.com. Wisdom, HARBOUR.com. So we appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate you guys coming in from all over the United States. And I guess you're going to get in your car and just drive back home as soon as the show's over. But we appreciate you coming down just for the show. I know you came down just for this today, and we appreciate all of you. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.